This is Tony Hendrick with Painting Spirit. And today I'm going to talk about awareness. And to get going on that, I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath. Go ahead and just take a deep breath right now. And hold it for just a second or two. And then as you're letting it out, bring a gentle smile to your face. Become aware of the feeling inside as you're smiling. Become aware of where that feeling is most heightened. Is it in your belly? Is it in your face? Your eyes? Your throat? Where is it? Where is that feeling the strongest as you're smiling inside? The feeling of a smile inside. So, everyone who just did that had a different experience, but there was a shift in awareness, and it could have been subtle. Maybe somebody was saying to themselves, "You can't tell me what to do." Or somebody else might have said, "Oh boy, group activity." Each person would have had a different experience depending on where the awareness shifted to. But there was a shift in awareness. And often those shifts of awareness are happening throughout the day, all the time. And so let's talk about how I got to this subject. I received a comment yesterday asking me to talk a little bit more about through me, which is the subject I chose yesterday. And let me get my awareness into this painting. Oh, by the way, I had another half of the painting today that I'm using from yesterday. And again, it allows me to play around with different translucency in the paint. All this is dry underpainting. It's kind of a fun way to explore painting. So, in this comment, she asked if I could share a little bit of personal experience, which I love that question, because for me, I think I do best in talking about these subjects if I'm able to find some personal experience to share. Makes it easier, for one thing, to paint and talk at the same time instead of trying to come up with some conceptual idea of the subject. So I'm going to do that and see what happens. Maybe a couple of stories, maybe just one. And it's all going to be about this idea of awareness, because for me, I think that the subject of through me is really everything I've been talking about with these painting spirits is about that feeling of having something come through me. That's where getting out of the mind and into what I'm feeling. So, let's see, where am I in my thought here? See, I got into the mind as soon as I said that. So with awareness, it's so subtle, it shifts all the time. But I'm shifting in and out of different awarenesses while I'm doing these painting spirit. So when we're having that experience of something coming through us, when I'm having the experience of something coming through me, it's subtle, and it's just this shift and back and forth of awareness. And really, we all have something coming through us. It's just the nature of being alive. You'd be dead if something wasn't coming through you. So that's why I chose awareness, because really that's what it's about, is where the awareness is. You're either in some level of resisting what's coming through you or some level of allowing. And it's the allowing that I'm talking about when I say through me. So I'll give an personal experience. Years ago, I started a new part-time job working for my cousin, who's a civil engineer, who's just started his own business partnering with somebody, and essentially traffic studies is what the work was. And it took me up to Alpena up north on a project that I was doing for him, and this was new to me, so my awareness was really heightened. And the very first intersection where I was doing the traffic study, there was a wildlife sanctuary or a nature sanctuary where I could go for a hike between the studies. And I was just, basically my awareness was just at a level 10 plus. Loving exploring up north. One of my favorite things to do is taking my camera with me, getting photographs, and dreaming about the paintings I would be doing with these images, and just taking it all in. My awareness was heightened into that feeling good space. And the next project after the one in Alpena was down in Tawas City, being in that heightened state of awareness as I was driving out of Alpena through Ascota. I think it was Ascota. I think that's the town. I can't remember. I saw on the side of the road somebody working on had scaffolding all around this Paul Bunyan babe sculpture. And because I was in that space, heightened awareness, I allowed myself to go, you know what, I gotta talk to this guy. So I turned around, went and had a conversation. He was another artist, and he showed me some of his work, or I don't know if he showed me his work or not, but what he was doing with these sculptures was very similar just to the way that I work. And actually kind of like painting billboards. Let's see. Boy, I'm really tuning into my story, and my awareness is more on what I'm talking about than what I'm painting, but that's interesting. It's a shift of awareness. It's kind of a fun thing about these spirit paintings, is I am playing around with my own awareness while talking and painting at the same time, and some cool things happen just with that shift of awareness. Back and forth, back and forth. So, back to my story. I really enjoyed meeting this artist, and all I had with me was a postcard with my artwork on it, and I don't think he had a business card or anything like that. But I wanted to stay connected with him, so I told him, just email me. Email me. My email's on this. And, a month went by when I was back home and hadn't heard from him. I was kind of bummed out because it was such a fun experience. And around that time, a month later, a friend of mine called me and asked if he could come out to my place and build some stretchers. I had a technique of building stretchers for canvases and have a wood shop, and he wanted to bring a couple of friends, artist friends, with him. And I said, sure. So when he came, only one of his friends was with him. The other one, who was going to be there, his flight, I think he was coming from Oregon into Detroit. His flight got delayed. Something happened with his flight, so he never showed up. But somewhere along the line, they were talking about this person, and 2 and 2 got put together, and I found out the person who was going to show up at my door, Tommy Chiroka, was actually the one who was working on the Paul Bunyan and Babe sculpture. I think that I like that story because that ended up leading to a project I did up in Alpena, a mural project. Kind of getting back into the painting here. One of my favorite projects. Actually, it led to several projects I've done up in Alpena. And kind of was a big impact on my career, actually. Working with other artists. This is kind of a cool little painting here. Not sure where I am with time-wise, but to me, that little story talks about what it's like to have something come through me. I was open, in a good space. That's why I talk about feelings a lot. What you're feeling is so key to this state of being an allowance, to allow something to come through you. Here's my bell. Again, another slow painting. I didn't have to work so quick with this. I'm just kind of playing with different colors. Just little pieces like this can make a painting really interesting. Just paying attention to little subtle things like that. I don't get to do that too often with these paintings. Just that little bit there, that kind of a dullish color. Might just leave that. Maybe add a little bit of darkness to it. Anyway, maybe that was a little more about this idea of allowing something to come through me, what it looks like. Play around with it for yourself. Get out your own brushes. See if you can allow stuff to come through you this week. See what shows up. And get out your own brushes. We'll see you tomorrow.